So imagine your listeners find you for the first time. You have a webinar that is going live next month, and this listener starts at episode 1. Are you going to have enough time for them to get through to episode 50? Or what if they only listen to one episode of your show and then you've lost them? This allows you that person who listens to episode 1 can now join your webinar that's happening next month without you having to nurture them through 50 episodes. Welcome to another episode of Listeners to Leads, where I'm helping podcasters launch and maintain a lead generating show. I'm your host, Alicia Galati, the CEO and head podcast strategist behind Galati Media, a full-service podcast management company. On this show, you'll hear my guests and I discuss everything it takes to launch a successful podcast and keep it running. If you're ready to get leads, land speaking gigs, and create deeper connections with your audience through your podcast, then this is the show for you. Today, we are going to talk about dynamic content, what it is, how you can use it in your podcast to create amazing, incredible, evergreen content for your audience. But mostly, we're going to be talking about how to use dynamic content to make money with your podcast. I am so excited to talk about this. I get super jazzed whenever I talk about dynamic content, especially when I'm explaining it to new clients and I'm like, we're going to do incredible things together. Here we go. First and foremost, what is dynamic content? Dynamic content is pretty much any digital or online content that changes based on the user's data or their preferences. It could be a text change, it could be an audio change or a video change. Think of it like this. Whenever you go onto a website and you see that the ads are tailored to you, those ads are dynamic. They are using your data and your searches and your preferences to create content, specifically that ad, in order to target you to buy something. You're looking at ads, maybe it's a welcome back. That would be for a website where you see that the person has come back, so their IP address is tracked or something like that. Recommendations, so when you go on Amazon and it shows all of these recommended products that they think you would love based on past products that you have purchased. This is all dynamic content. But what does this have to do with podcasting, and how can we use dynamic content in our podcast? If you listen to a few of the major podcasts that are from podcast networks or things like that, where there's a lot of money going into these podcasts, you'll find that there's a lot of dynamic content. For podcasting, dynamic content can sometimes be based on the listener, but the kind that we're going to be talking about specifically today does not sacrifice the privacy of the listener. So it's not pulling that data. It's not taking their information. So your listeners are still safe. Pros and cons to that, right? So depending on what kind of business you run and business model you have, but we're still going to make it work either way. Back to the podcast. I listened to a podcast. It was like an older episode, and the ads were the same as some of the newer episodes, and they had changed all of the ads. And I was like, whoa, what happened? How did they just make all of the ads? This was years ago. How did they make all of the ads pertinent to what is happening? Maybe it was their live show, or it was whatever their latest promo was, but it was on past episodes that they would not have even known that they were doing this live show yet. So that is what dynamic content would look like on the podcasting side. I use Buzzsprout. That is my podcast host of choice. You can go to the show notes for my affiliate link to join Buzzsprout. You will get an Amazon gift card after you've been with them for, I think it's 3 months. I love them. They're incredible. And they are one of the few podcast hosts that allows for dynamic content. But I believe they are the only one that the dynamic content comes at no extra cost. So win-win all around for everyone. But for Buzzsprout's dynamic content specifically, they have a pre-roll section and a post-roll section. I really love that. They don't have a mid-roll, so meh, whatever. But they've got the pre-roll and the post-roll. It allows you to swap out ads, sponsorships, any type of content you want to put in there, And targeting your listeners that way allows you to make your content more dynamic. This is really great because podcasts are evergreen. When people find your podcast, they either start listening to the most recent and then they binge it all, or they start at the very beginning and they binge it all. So if someone is starting at episode 1, then they're not going to get your latest ad or your latest promotion or the latest thing that you are providing your audience unless you literally just launched your podcast. Episode 1, things that you're promoting from your business, is going to be very different than episode 50 or even episode 100. They're going to be completely different based on how your business works. So obviously, if you are always promoting the same exact thing every single time and you plan on never changing your business, sure, whatever. Do what you want. I believe that dynamic content allows you to engage with your audience no matter if someone is listening to episode 1 or episode 50, they get targeted with the most recent version of your promotional dynamic content. Sounds incredible, right? So imagine your listeners find you for the first time. You have a webinar that is going live next month, and this listener starts at episode 1. Are you going to have enough time for them to get through to episode 50? Or what if they only listen to one episode of your show? What if something happens and they get busy or they forget to follow or whatever, and they only listen to that one episode, and then you've lost them at that point? This allows you that person who listens to episode 1 can now join your webinar that's happening next month without you having to nurture them through 50 episodes. I get so excited about this. Anything that is going to allow your content to bring in leads, to pull in people, to buy from you, to purchase from you, to join your group programs, to work one-on-one with you, that is what I am here for. That is what I live for. It gets me so stinking excited. Are you as excited as I am? Probably not, because I am super excited. I love this stuff. Here are some ideas for monetizable dynamic content. Because Buzzsprout has the pre-roll, which is the content that would go before your full episode content, and the post-roll, which goes at the very end of your podcast content, what we do for clients is we have their ad and then their outro joined together to be their dynamic content. This also allows us that if the podcaster wants to change where to send people in their outro, or maybe they want to just change up their outro, they want to say something a little different, or their brand's changed a little bit, this allows them to do that so that they don't have to worry about going back, changing a bunch of past episodes because something has changed in their business. We joined the ad and then the outro together at the end. That's how I recommend doing it. So that way you've got both of those kind of bookends to be able to have at the end of your episode. It makes it very easy for when you decide, hey, I'm going to change my ad. All you have to do is take that outro that you already have. If you don't want to change it, put it together in your editing software and you are good to go. No issues there. So here are some ideas on monetizable dynamic content that you can use. I'm going to go a little further in depth with this in a second, but let me just get through these real quick. Promoting a sponsor. You can announce a new upcoming event that you have, whether it's live or it's virtual, either one, you can promote it. A new program's open or close, like, hey, we're accepting new members, or hey, join the waitlist. Webinar updates, how many seats you have available in your membership, or how someone can work one-on-one with you. So those are some ways that you can use that dynamic content to promote whatever it is that you want that you're promoting in your business at that time. I'm also going to be sharing some of the promotions that our clients are using their dynamic content for, and that will kind of get some ideas going for you. But let's move back to that sponsorship section. Obviously, here we talk more specifically about bringing leads into your business using your podcast. So listeners to leads, obviously that's what we're here for. But I think that this still is a really important piece, that if you did decide, hey, look, I am listening to your show, Alicia, because I want to take it to the next level. I want to really bring the heat with my podcast. but maybe I don't really want to promote my own products, or maybe I want to interchangeably promote my products, or someone reached out and they want to sponsor an episode. What do I do? And we'll have someone on later to talk about sponsorships, because I think it still is important that if you did want to go that route, I still want to be able to provide value to you guys via this podcast. So we will have someone on to talk specifically about sponsorships soon. One way that I love the dynamic content sponsorship idea for is that typically when you go into a sponsorship, you're looking at, hey, we're going to run your sponsorship ad over 4 episodes, and here is the amount of downloads that those 4 episodes will get over the next 3 months, and that is what you're paying for. Cool. But imagine if you could tell this sponsor, hey, I'm going to be able to use my dynamic content. You will not only get your sponsor ad ran during this allotted time, so these 3 months, but it's going to be on every single episode that we produce and has been produced over the course of those 3 months. So all of our downloads will reflect that dynamic content. They will reflect your ad. So it's like, we're going to run this almost like running a commercial that is going to run for a specific amount of time on every single episode that goes live during that time, or any episode that has gone live, because the content is dynamic and we have the ability to change it around anytime we want. So we'll run your ad during this allotted time. This is the total amount of downloads that we get in a 3-month span, instead of only being able to say, hey, you're getting these 4 episodes, like say you have a weekly show. We're going to run it over 4 episodes. This is how many downloads those 4 episodes will get over the course of 3 months. Here's what you're paying for. Instead, you could say, I have 50 episodes, and this is how many downloads I get per month. So these are how many hits your ad is going to get. You're going to be able to kick up that sponsor price because of the dynamic content. Are you excited yet? Because this stuff makes me so excited. I know I already said that, but how incredible would that be to be able to provide that kind of value to your sponsor, but also kick up the price and make some cash money dollars that way? That's what we want to do. Are you going to use dynamic content? Please do. You should. Go join Buzzsprout. Definitely get the dynamic content. I want to see you do it. It's going to be incredible. Here are some promotions that our clients are using their dynamic content to promote, to kind of get those creative juices flowing, get some ideas going on what you can use your dynamic content for moving forward. First one is a limited time course bundle. Love that. So the client that specifically is doing this, she has decided to bundle up 4 of her courses, make it a promo, and she is running it for the month. And we're able to have that bundle promo go live. It's on all of her podcast episodes. She doesn't have to worry while she's on vacation. She's getting those sales without having to work harder. She's working smarter, having all that dynamic content going live for her episodes. Absolutely love that. The other one is a newly released Oracle deck. So one of our clients released an Oracle deck, and we are promoting her Oracle deck on her dynamic content. So this allows her audience to hear, hey, we've got this new thing. Doesn't matter which episode you're listening to, you're going to be able to learn about this newly released Oracle deck that we have. It is only for a limited time. This is another thing that I've noticed is that I will be listening to a podcast and I'll hear about this limited time thing that they have. And then I see this episode went live a year ago. This limited time thing is probably not available anymore. But with the dynamic content, I wouldn't have to worry about that. I go, oh, this limited time thing is happening and it's happening right now. Awesome. Doesn't matter that the episode went live a year ago. I get to see this and get this thing right now because dynamic content is relevant to what's happening this week, what's happening this month. Another promotion that one of our clients is running is a podcast specific coupon for a strategy session. So she says, use the promotional code podcast during checkout in order to get $50 off of a one-on-one strategy session. Love that idea. It makes it so easy for people to, specific to the podcast, she can see what kind of people are coming from the podcast, who's buying that strategy session through the show, and also giving those listeners that extra bonus of being awesome listeners. Another client has the applications for their 6-month group program live for their dynamic content. During their open cart, they say, hey, we're accepting new members. Make sure that you fill out the form by this date, and it makes it so that anyone who's listening to any of their episodes, they could be listening to episodes months ago, and they will still get, hey, this is what's happening right now. If you sign up, then you have until this date to sign up for our thing, and we'll get back to you, be able to sit with us, and we'll let you know if your application was approved. Or during their close time, we kind of rotate through this open and close. During their close times, we tell people to join the wait list. So that way they know exactly when the doors are going to be open. We can start getting those leads in the door, getting interested parties involved and signed up for their email list. Love this. Another one is to promote a monthly membership. This client does not close her monthly membership. It is open all the time. People can join whenever they want. And so she is constantly promoting this membership. But she just launched this membership 8 months ago. Any episodes before that weren't talking about this membership. But with dynamic content, it allows us to be able to promote it before that 8 months. These are all the different ways that you can use dynamic content, strategies that our clients are using, what it is, how to make your podcast more evergreen, and give your audience exactly what they need in a timely manner. I absolutely love it. So this is how you can use dynamic content to make money with your podcast. I obviously am a huge fan of dynamic content. I recommend checking it out on Buzzsprout. See if it is something that you would like to use for your podcast. Let me know if you have any questions about this. Send me a DM and I am more than happy to answer anything that you have questions on. If you already have dynamic content and you're with Buzzsprout, I also would love to know how you're using Buzzsprout's dynamic content to be strategic and to make money with your show. So both types of people, send me a DM. I love hanging out in my Instagram DMs. Definitely come hang out with me over there. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Listeners to Leads. If you found something in this episode valuable, I would really appreciate it if you shared it with a friend who you know would also get value from it. Want to send me a message? My favorite place to hang out is Instagram. You can find me at alicia.galati. Let me know what your favorite takeaway was from the episode. And don't forget, turning those listeners into leads is actually easy.